Hello and welcome to a new episode of Airport Update here from Philadelphia International Airport on a summery morning where passenger numbers are picking up, and that means the airport is once again getting busy. And while the crisis is far from over, it is good to see the airport on the path to recovery. And so it is great to see that an airline like, for example, Japan Airlines is returning to Philadelphia Airport after the airline had suspended operations for a few months due to the pandemic. But it's not just an airline such as Japan Airlines returning to the airport. There are even some new international routes that have been established here at the airport. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, we should start our tour around the airport grounds over at Concourse A, where we of course mainly have narrow-body aircraft and mainly North American traffic, because also here we see a significant increase in traffic. And so the first aircraft on our tour around the airport is this Airbus A220-300 of Air Canada that has arrived from Toronto just around 10 minutes ago. Currently the aircraft is being offloaded and passengers are disembarking the aircraft, and then the aircraft will be prepared for its return flight back to Canada and Toronto. Next to the Air Canada, we have a Boeing 737-900ER of Delta Airlines that arrived around an hour ago from Detroit, has now gone through its turnaround procedures and is now ready to be pushed out of the ramp for its flight out to Atlanta. Then we have a Boeing 737-800 of United Airlines, where things definitely are not going to plan. The aircraft arrived this morning from Denver and was supposed to already have left at 8 o'clock in the morning back out to Denver, but now 2 hours later the aircraft is still here at the airport. First procedures for the return flight have now started, but this aircraft will probably remain here for at least another half an hour. Over at the Concourse A extension, we have this Embraer ERJ190 of JetBlue that today is flying between Philadelphia and Boston. It arrived around an hour ago and is now ready to go out again. The stairs just need to be pushed aside and the pushback truck is already on the way, so this aircraft will be leaving shortly. Then we have the CRJ900 of Delta Connection that came in around 20 minutes past midnight from Minneapolis, to where it will be returning in around 36 minutes according to the schedule. So boarding should start any minute now. And then we have the 737-700 of Southwest Airlines that was supposed to come in around midnight to PHL, but arrived with a hefty 2.5 hours delay. Now the aircraft is ready for its next flight, which will bring it to Atlanta, but also here with a few minutes delay. However, nothing it can't catch up on the way. And now let's head over to our airport hotel to see what's going on over there today. You see, the hotel grounds have today been taken over by the airport's emergency services, but not because there's anything scary going on, but rather because there is something to celebrate. In fact, it is the arrival of the new fire engines. And because the emergency services are really happy about that, they have invited a lot of local schools so that school kids can see their new equipment. Rumors have it that some teachers are quite infatuated with the firefighters, but that are, of course, just rumors. And with that, let's head over to Concourse B, the American Airlines and One World terminal. And over here we have this Boeing 737-800 of American Airlines that is ready to be pushed out of the ramp. The aircraft arrived earlier in the morning from San Diego has stayed here at the airport until now and will now be heading out to Orlando. And not just ready to be pushed, but in the middle of the procedures of being pushed out of the ramp is this Boeing 737-900ER of Alaska Airlines. That, as usual, is flying between Philadelphia and Seattle. The aircraft will be leaving with a few minutes delay, but also here nothing that the aircraft won't be able to catch up on its way over to the West Coast. Just pulling into the ramp and arriving from Savannah is the CRJ-900 of American Eagle. The aircraft will now have just around an hour until its next flight, which will bring the aircraft out to Tampa. Then we have this Airbus A321neo of American Airlines that arrived 8 minutes past 9 from Charlotte. It is now being prepared for its next flight, bringing it out to Cancun, and according to the schedule, the aircraft should leave in 20 minutes time. Everything does look like it could work out, except that there has just been a mechanic pulling up to the aircraft, which could be signs of trouble, so perhaps this aircraft might be in for a more lengthy stay. And taxiing past the perhaps troublesome Airbus of American Airlines is this American Eagle ERJ-175 that has just arrived from Indianapolis, and as soon as it has deboarded its passengers, will be prepared for its next flight, bringing it out to Boston. On the other side of Concourse B, where we have the wide-body stands and mainly international traffic, we have this ERJ-175 of American Eagle taxiing by. This aircraft has just arrived from Fort Myers and will now be heading over to the other side, where we have the narrow-body stands. After that, the aircraft will be prepared for its flight out to Kansas City. And in one of the wide-body stands, we find this Boeing 777-200ER of American Airlines. The airline has by now retired all their Airbus A330 aircraft, so the wide-body fleet here at Philadelphia in the future will mainly comprise of 777 and 787s. And this 777 has arrived yesterday evening from Miami and is now ready to be pushed out for its flight out to Los Angeles, LAX. Next to the American, we have this Airbus A350-1000 of Cathay Pacific that, with this flight today, mark the return of the airline to Philadelphia Airport following a lengthy break of operations due to the worldwide pandemic. The aircraft arrived only 20 minutes ago from Hong Kong, and that means the aircraft is currently still being offloaded and passengers are disembarking the aircraft. As soon as that is done, the aircraft will be prepared for its return flight back to Hong Kong. Also just arriving, and equally today, marking the return after a lengthy break of operations, is this Airbus A350-900 of Japan Airlines. The airline had been one of very few international operators that continuously had operated to Philadelphia throughout the pandemic, but a few months ago had to make the hard decision to cut the connection. But now the airline marks the return with today's flight coming in from Tokyo Narita. Also over at Concourse, it is rather busy today, so we find this Boeing 777-300ER in the middle of its turnaround procedures. The aircraft of Emirates arrived 10 minutes to 9 in the morning from Dubai to where it will be returning in around 1.5 hours. Right now the aircraft is being loaded, catering is being delivered as well, and the aircraft is being refueled. Next to the Emirates, we have a premiere here at the airport as the arrival of the 787-9 of ANA marks the opening of a brand new route to Philadelphia connecting the airport with Tokyo Haneda. The aircraft even arrived early this morning, which hopefully is a good omen for the new route. And then we have another new route here at the airport. Singapore Airlines is from now on connecting Philadelphia with Singapore via Frankfurt, and today is using the 787-10, but the route will alternate between the 787-10 and the 777-300ER. The aircraft arrived 5 minutes to 8 from Frankfurt and now has about 50 minutes left until its return flight is scheduled. And with that, let's head over to our remote stands to see what's going on over there. Taxiing past the Concourse on its way over to B is the CRJ 900 of American Eagle that has just arrived from St. Louis. The aircraft will then be prepared for its next flight, which is scheduled to take place at 15 minutes past 12, bringing the aircraft out to Williamsport. Being pushed out of the ramp right now is this Boeing 747-400F of UPS that arrived from the airline's main hub in Louisville at 5:30 in the morning and has remained at the airport grounds ever since. It is now fully loaded and prepared for its next flight, which will bring it over the Big Pond to Paris Charles de Gaulle. Holding short of runway 27 right now is the 767-300F of UPS that arrived yesterday evening from Boston and now with a massive delay is finally making its way to Miami, as the aircraft was scheduled to leave already at 3:30 in the morning. And then our final arrival of today's airport update and on short final is the 737 MAX 8 of Cayman Airways that have just started a new route here to Philadelphia. Coming in from Georgetown, the aircraft will now have just over 2 hours for its turnaround when the aircraft will be returning back to the Cayman Islands. With that, we have reached the end of today's airport update. If you have enjoyed this video, then don't forget to leave a like, that would be very much appreciated. And of course, if you are new around here, why not hit subscribe? That would be absolutely awesome. With that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching. Hope to see you soon again. I'm checking out, and bye.